obscure through this padded hush, like thunder beyond the horizon. But a car horn sliced through the quiet, and he seized the handle, rammed through the door, stumbled onto the road, fist aloft, shouting curses at the escaping taillights. The car slowed, and he felt a gush of adrenaline behind his breastbone, felt the need to twist and smash, wanting that sensation of ribs collapsing beneath the concussion of his fists. A hand emerged through the window, finger extended, and then the car accelerated beyond a rise, leaving Nathan within a quilt of silence pleated by the patter of rain and the periodic sweep of the wipers. He looked at the horses, sun gone, rain falling harder. The larger of the two, a sorrel stallion with a broad chest and ivory poll, seemed to nod at him, and the mare pressed her cheek to the stallion's throat and nickered. He slid into the car and lifted the notebook, leaned across the gear shift with an elbow on the passenger seat to better study the sky, and the rain surged, a frothing deluge against the windshield. He tossed the notebook onto the heap of foam cups and muffin bags on the floor and sat up, pondering the cascade on the glass, the view momentarily reopened by the swab of the wipers. Clarity every 7 seconds. Twin diamonds approached, hard and bright, scooted past, a van's wheels hurling a gout of rainwater against the car's door. The sky dimmed, night falling earlier every day. Nathan saw his own sad eyes in the rearview mirror, recalled a woman in a Yarmouth roadhouse, a slurring, half-drunk nymph with butterscotch hair. "You know," she said, "you're a bit like an animal you find bleeding on the roadside. You stop to help, but it snarls and tries to chew your fucking hand off." She cackled, and Nathan turned to study her, his cheek pressed to his fist, and she averted her gaze, let it fall to the bulge of his bicep, which flexed involuntarily, as if awakened by her attention. He excused himself to use the washroom and slipped away into the stormy evening, letting the chill rain drench him. Nathan's body, which in his teens and 20s was doughy and pale, had transformed. He'd developed limbs like twisted wire, his frame defined by flat, taut muscles built and driven by relentless exercise. The jerk and pump of free weights in the Nautilus. He didn't know what had pigmented his skin, age or sorrow or fury, but he now appeared mildly tan, at times almost sunburned, face flushed, the backs of his hands brown and sprung with coarse tendons, knuckles scabbed from a punch he'd thrown into a man's teeth on the sidewalk outside the Split Crow pub in Halifax 3 days before. He touched the welt on his ear where the man's wife had bit him. She had pounced on Nathan's back and chomped down there as he'd wound to strike again. He'd been defending her from her husband's assault. He clicked the wipers to fast mode and stepped on the clutch, rocked the stick into first. The clouds were rushing dusk brown, and he needed a place to sleep. But first, something to eat. A diner-motel combo would be best, eat and then crash into bed. He accelerated along the slick pavement. An oncoming truck flashed headlights, and he switched on his own, punched and punched the radio seek button, caught the tail of the CBC News. Weather next, a cold front tearing through, plowing away cloud, polishing the sky to opaque azure. So familiar he could almost write tomorrow's entry now. Blue, 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 cooling to hazy aquamarine against the horizon, bleached by pale aerosols. He'd read somewhere that pre-industrial skies curved in unfettered blue from rim to rim. If we saw that today, we'd sense something was amiss and panic. Our familiar poisons. Nothing but forest and gas station towns here. The car's broken antenna and an impotent stub, so he hopped along an archipelago of CBC transmitters, stations snuffed by the horizon, leaving him in barren troughs of reception, the digital display careening through the FM band, bottom to top, pausing before repeating the trek at 87.5 megahertz. He tuned to the AM band, found it bloated with signals, cranky parades of 50s and 60s tunes, the hoarse shout of a football commentator, and there, crystal clear among the abrasive frequencies, the cool twang of a preacher somewhere in the Midwestern U.S. "Keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman." 25.